Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. This video is to help you guys identify people who are emotionally unstable, who may have emotionally unstable personality disorder, or also known as borderline personality disorder. Most of my viewers here who watch these have had multiple, even maybe relationships or family with personality disorders in the cluster B, and you've been traumatized or abused, neglected, things like this. And I know you want to recover. I think a big part of recovery is learning about your experiences, understanding them, realizing that it's not your fault, but also trying to find something we can own. So we realize we have control. We don't have to make the same mistakes again. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is to help you not make the same mistakes again, to identify someone who's emotionally unstable, but to the point where they may have a disorder, a mental disorder, a mental illness. And you know, I'm talking about people who are untreated, people who do not want to get help and are possibly or will abuse you. Okay? So I'm not trying to hate on people with mental illness. I think we all have problems. We may all have some type of mental illness or disorder. I'm certainly not trying to say to avoid people with this. I'm trying to help you avoid people who will hurt you, who will psychologically damage you. And it's profound with people that are emotionally unstable or have the disorder or any cluster B personality disorder. This is not exclusive to people with this disorder. People with other personality disorders, and people that might be bipolar, obsessive compulsive, ADHD, CPTSD. A lot of you may have one or a couple of these things that I say. So the things that I list, please keep in mind, most important in this video are clusters, groups of 3 or more. Then there's a problem. All right? I bet all of you will be able to identify, have done this, do this one thing still, have done a couple of these things, maybe more in your past. Okay? It's not to say that you have some type of mental illness or disorder. If it's a behavior you don't like, try to change it. Okay? We're not perfect. We all have problems. This may identify one of yours. Okay? But again, it's to help people avoid toxic people who abuse and exploit people who don't want to change or get help. That's what this video is about. Okay? Higher spectrum, lower functioning. Not all people with borderline personality disorder. If you're watching this video, I may not be, list anything that you do. You may not do any of this. Okay? I understand that. So, let's get started. I'm going to dive into a few of them, but I'm going to list some quick ones right off the bat and get them out of the way. And I've also made, many videos about this disorder, that's for sure, a lot. I've also made other videos about red flags that people with borderline will show you, that you'll see. How to identify other people that are toxic and stuff. So there's I always add new information in every video, even if they're similar. So remember, clusters, okay? Just these few things right here. I'm going to list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things right here. Okay? If somebody's, has a problem in 3 of these areas, and they have their whole life, right? But this is more just meeting people. This could be the first time you see them, second, third time you hang out, or second or third date. Okay? Or even the first time you meet someone. All right, this isn't necessarily like any kind of long-term relationship and things they do. It gets much more. There's more. Yeah, I would have more. Okay, hyper or hyposexual. So they're telling you they've had sex a lot, right? They tell you, maybe they have an infection, an STD. They lack boundaries. They might tell you that right away. They might. They've had lots of sexual partners. They usually have sex. They might tell you, I usually have sex, on the second or third date. I've had women seriously tell me that I totally have a really good rule. I have a third date rule. So I don't have sex until the third date. And I'm like, so day 3 of meeting, if you meet someone 2 days later, you'll have sex with them if you have 3 dates. um, Clusters, again, scars on their arms and legs, cut marks, maybe fresh new cut marks. You're like, what are those from? And then you'll also see scars. It's really sad. Okay, I'm not trying to hate on stuff like this. It's very serious mental illness, and stuff like this is really sad. But it's things to watch out for, right? And I'm not saying anybody that has scars, if they have scars or they have cut themselves in the past, it doesn't mean that you have to stay away from them or they're toxic or they'll abuse you. But if they have that along with many of the other things I have here, then they might be have untreated serious mental illness, don't want to get help, and they might abuse you and hurt you. May not have a job, just got fired, been fired more than once, unstable living arrangement. Oh, I'm staying with someone right now. Just kind of staying on the couch, things like this, right? They're a victim. We're only a victim when we're being victimized, but they'll tell you they've been victimized, but they'll still be clearly a victim, not act like a victim. So it's always kind of poor me, sad. Everyone's hurt me. Everyone's abused me. So many people have hurt me, abused me. I don't trust doctors. They've all done this to me. I don't trust police officers. They've all abused me. I don't trust, things like that. Suicidal. Yeah. Whether they talk about it, whether they tried it, whether they think about it, whether they've done it before, they've thought about it before, and things like this, just things to watch out for. Not alone. Clusters. You can see right away, right? If someone's the first 3-4 things I've read, if they're like that, that's right, red flags. Other signs of mental illness, or they have other diagnoses they tell you about. Not just alone those things are something to watch out for. Clusters, add them all up in a group. So far, if they have all these things, I'd be very weary about starting a relationship with somebody, about continuing that. They take medications like antidepressants. Xanax is real common, especially with women, with female borderlines. Ritalin, other drugs for ADD, ADHD, speed, in other words. No hobbies, maybe, no real interests, goals, future plans. Not always. Some of the things I've noticed that female people with borderline, at least that are females, some of the things they're interested in are things like cosmetics, art, nutrition, psychology. Men seem to be way into either their work, nothing, drugs, partying, addiction, sports. Emotionally unstable, right? Emotional dysregulation, cannot regulate their emotions. And that could be positive and negative. They could be excited. They easily get excited, and they get hyper excited and overexcited about stuff. Too much fun. Too sad. They get sad and it just keeps getting more sad, and then 15 minutes later they're crying now. Can't regulate that. Fears, phobias, if they have phobias, they can't regulate fears very well. Anxiety is extremely common. Yeah. And being unstable makes people impulsivity. The whole job thing, the living thing, starting and stopping relationships suddenly. You meet them, yeah, I have a great boyfriend. Yeah, I love my boyfriend. Next time you talk to him, 2 days later, they're broken up. Okay. And they're all really interested in you. And they want to start a relationship with you right away. Right? Second date. I don't want you to date anyone else. Like, how can you commit to somebody you don't know at all? Crazy. And impulsivity would come out in sex, alcohol, drugs. Right? All of a sudden just get drunk, get real drunk, get too drunk. How are they with anger? How are they under stress? Violence. I can't say the word, but violence is real something to look out for. I don't want it in my life at all. That's a deal breaker. Any form of it, meaning yelling, screaming, hitting things, banging things, breaking things, throwing things, and threats of any kind. Yes, that's violence. Any kind of threat. If you do this, I'll do this. That's a threat. Okay? They're easily irritated, or they're irritable, agitated. They're in conflict a lot. Dramatic. It's always the person who says, I hate drama, who always has a new story about something dramatic in their life about with someone else, but they try to always put it on the other person. I get that. That you can have someone in your life and they're the one that's always causing drama and drama and drama. But if I'm going to keep that person in my life, can I say I hate drama? If I want to tell you all about it, do I hate it? No. I wouldn't probably talk about it much. I'd probably not talk to them much, but I certainly wouldn't be telling other people all about it. Their dumbass drama. Splitting. Now, this splitting is something that's so damaging to other people in relationships with them later in relationships, but you can still see this right when you first meet someone. Because some of the stuff they come and tell you immediately, they identify with this big time. It might be their biggest identifier of who they are. Splitting. Black and white thinking. Extremes. No gray area. Extreme in opinion, belief, faith, ideology, magical thinking. Very common to, let the cards guide me, the tarot cards. Not hating on it. You may not want them to let them totally guide your life. But in clusters, they do a bunch of these things and they're into tarot cards and go see fortune tellers and psychics and get my point. And this is idealized devalue. Yeah. You're so amazing. Oh my God, you're awful. That would be quick to accuse, false accusations, hypercritical, criticizing you. Yeah, that's when you're in the devalue stage. We kind of already know what idealization is and putting you on a pedestal is. I have 3 more things here. Next one is poor boundaries. We know that's kind of obvious, but still have to say it. It's how you keep toxic people at bay. How you keep them maybe out of your life or a relationship not so stressful. Keep your autonomy. They don't have boundaries. Or they don't respect or not aware of your boundaries. Yeah, they'll tell you too much. They'll ask you too much. They'll invite themselves into your life. They'll have plans that you didn't talk about. This can result in reactions like hypersensitivity, or I was corrected by someone with this disorder, said we're maybe not sensitive, but maybe fragile. So hyperfragility in things that you say. Yeah, they bring up a really sensitive topic because they have no boundaries. They shouldn't be bringing this up right now because it's real sensitive to them. And they're very fragile. So that leaves you to real easy to make a mistake because you didn't react the way they wanted, perfectly. You'll say somebody hurt them in their past, and you'll say, oh, that person's bad. And they'll say, well, no, I love them, though. They just hurt me. How could you say that? It's that's why we don't bring this stuff up. You got to talk to a professional. Passive aggressiveness is the other thing that this will cause, because you'll say something they don't like and they won't react now, they'll react later. Yeah, passive aggressiveness. And they'll say, I love you, soulmates. They'll bring up babies and marriage. I had someone break up with me after a couple months because we didn't talk about babies a long time ago. But it was like, oh, I didn't know. Didn't get that. I didn't know that we talk about babies in the first 2 months. Okay. But we break up because I didn't bring it up. Fuck. Uh, calls and texts, right? I mean, I've got a guide. I help my clients, start new relationships. I think it's a really good guide. You can't go wrong with this guide. And you know, you just meet, go on a first date. You just got the phone number or something. They're already calling you, or they're already texting, and then in the morning, and then an hour later, then that's healthy people just don't do that. We just don't do that. It's not cute. It's not funny. It's not romantic. It's not anything but disgusting. And I'm sorry if it feels good. It kind of tells you where you're at. Relationships. Remember we talked about impulsivity, start and stop suddenly. But more importantly, speaks poorly about them. It's my biggest red flag. I've told you guys before this. My biggest red flag. What's your guys' biggest red flag? Actually, could you tell me? Could you tell us? All of you guys list what's your biggest red flag that you just say, oh hell no, to someone? Cross-eyed? Really though, more of who someone is, right? Yeah, not so much what they look like or the job they have. Yeah, and please don't say politics, please. But I get it. Don't get me wrong. There's some people I can't be around. But I don't mean a half. That's one side. I just mean people on both sides, like extremists. Um, yeah, I got it. But speaks poorly about people in general, right? I mean, like I said in just a recent video, it's one thing. There's a celebrity, a politician I really dislike, and I'll tell you the things I dislike about them. Be careful of calling them evil, monstering them, making them some kind of monster, inhuman, right? Let's not think any humans are inhuman, not human. Don't do that. It opens the door wide open for anyone to be not human. Yeah, if it, you're right. If what people ask me, what's the biggest sign to watch out for people who objectify others? Well, do they dehumanize anyone? That's a good place to start, right? Um, so speaks poorly about people in their life. I mean, what's worse than saying, "Oh, screw my friend, they're a piece of shit." Yeah, we used to be friends. They screwed me over. Yeah, so screw them, piece of crap. They're ugly, fat, stupid. Just like, okay, I don't know. It's real hard for me to stop caring for someone, even if you do rotten things to me. I might care for you for a while. Red flag. Friends. And this is a big one. I made videos, separate videos just about friends with borderlines, narcissists, stuff like this. But it's a big one, and it's a big one a lot of people don't see. You know, First, I mean, come on, what is a friend to you? First of all, right? What are friends? Is it just someone I know? I go eat with them one time. Is that all it takes? Well, then, if that's all you know, maybe we're not really friends. My friends, I don't really, honestly, a friend to me isn't somebody that lives abroad that I don't see ever and talk to every once in a while. That's not a friend. No. What if I told you I have three really good friends, but that's all I have? Yeah, they all live in different countries. I talk to them every few months. Well, okay. You might want to try to find a friend around you, hang out with, actually. Yeah, big difference. Not a friend. Acquaintances. The experiences they have are transactional. They compartmentalize. You'll see that. This person gives me rides. This person lets me borrow money. This person always answers the phone I can emotionally dump on. This person sucks. Their exes, and also their friends. They'll say they're friends, but talk bad about them. This is my family. I talk bad about them, and I still talk to them. That's a big one. Exes, they're talking about their ex. Why? I don't know them. Do you guys enjoy talking about someone you don't know? Uh, Especially if you're, interested in dating someone, you like someone, you're thinking about committing to someone, and they're talking about an ex. It means they're not healed. Being a victim still from my ex, still in contact with my ex, lives with the ex. Oh yeah, that's common. Yeah. Oh, we still just live together. What else are we gonna do? We have a child together. we can't live in separate houses. It's much easier this way. And, it sounds all, oh, okay at first, but then you're like, wait a minute, no. Parents, and this is another really big one that I've made videos about this too. Parents. Are their parents toxic? Did they have abusive childhoods? And that alone doesn't mean someone's toxic. What I'm looking for, and this is really common with females, not so much males, really common with female borderlines and their mother. They won't have a good relationship. Then at first you might think they do because they go out a lot, hang out a lot, and she says good things about her, but you'll see, it'll surface. She will be completely stressed out about mom. They got a big fight. Mom did this crazy, abusive, nasty thing, said this nasty thing to me. I hate her. I want to talk to her ever again. But then they hang out. You know what I mean? So it's like, if they have a toxic mom that abused them in childhood, and she healed from this, and they do talk now because mom, admitted what she did was wrong and she's better now and doesn't do it, that's one thing. Or my mom is toxic, still is, so I only talk to her like every few months, really don't see her, quick conversation, I don't tell her anything about me, I keep in touch because I just kind of have to for the rest of the family. Do you see that? It's a big difference then. My mom's toxic, and the next day, hey, I'm out to lunch with her. And my mom's abusive, nasty, gross, I hate her. We're getting along the next day. Got in a big fight. Next day, they're getting along. What about the big fight you got into? Oh, it's no big deal. It's just toxic. Toxic, toxic, toxic. And children. Children. For all mothers out there that don't have contact with their children, I'm really sorry. Okay. A big sign, though, and it may not be you at all. I understand so many different circumstances, but a bad sign can be when a mother doesn't have custody or rights, or doesn't see the children, doesn't talk about children and young children. Not good. But I've heard and seen many, many circumstances where the father lied to courts, stuff like this, or the mom made one mistake, things like this. I get it, and I'm sorry. Okay. Clusters, again, clusters. But it's important, right? If you meet a mother that has many of these other things, and she doesn't even see her children, they don't live with her, she doesn't visit them, doesn't bring them up, and they're like 3 and 6, it's like, what happened? Okay. Other things that you guys can do, man, to learn more about the stuff, you can look in the DSM-5. Diagnostic Statistic Manual for Mental Illness and Disorders, Volume 5. Is what doctors, therapists, psychologists use to diagnose patients in this country. Might help you. You can talk to a professional, which is something I highly recommend doing. If you had run-ins with people, multiple like this, had relationships with people like this, for sure. Somebody you can identify, your parents or family like this. In relationships you have with people, you can at least document, log things that happen so you don't forget, and how it feels. Boundaries will help a lot. Pretty much saying no and going slow. That's how you get rid of toxic people. If you feel that pressure, they're probably toxic. Relationships cannot function with people that have untreated borderline personality disorder or emotionally unstable personality disorder. Okay? They can't function. And it's not something just that we just say, oh, well, I can handle it. No, you can't. No, you can't. It's stress. We lose ourselves, and you miss the whole idea of life. Untreated BPD, EUPD, they prefer not to get treatment or help. And they're, low functioning, higher spectrum. They do most of these things. There's nothing you can do to help them. Help yourself. Let them help themselves. Okay? This kind of severe mental illness is not something that your friends, family, you can't love it out of them. You can't squeeze it out of them. You can't hug it out of them. I know I've seen people claim stuff like that. Most people that claim stuff like that are living with hell. They try to rationalize and justify it. Please, I hope I didn't offend anybody. If I did, I'm sorry. Understand that I am trying to help people avoid the traumas that they've endured in their life. Please ask questions. Ask anything you want. If you think this video is beneficial to you or somebody else, I appreciate you to subscribe to the channel, give it a like, share it. Thank you. Most of all, love yourself first, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.